I had left work early this particular day, and it was a really beautiful sunny day in May. And I was rushing into the store, and I noticed two men in a car watching me. But I thought, forget about it. Don't be like that. Just keep going. Get on with what you need to do. So I went into the store, hurried and bought all of my things, came out with a cart loaded full of all of this food and whatever, keys, purse, everything all over the place. Went and unlocked my car, threw everything in the back. I have a big SUV, threw it in the back. Didn't lock my car, just went all the way back to the cart rack and put away my cart. And when I got back to my car, two men with guns were standing there and said, "Get in and drive."
My name is Pat Malone. I'm a security consultant. I protect people and I teach people how to protect themselves.
He has taught defense and survival tactics to government, law enforcement, celebrities, and military personnel, including, listen to this, the Navy SEALs, the FBI, the Green Beret, Marine Reconnaissance, and many major police departments.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, Ron, for having me here. Thank you very much. This is the last time you're going to see me smile this morning, so hang on to that. I don't smile easily. I'm going to talk to you about violent crime.
What we ask Pat to do in our business is to give one of his seminars to the employees. It gives them information, it gives them ideas, it gives them awareness of how to avoid issues.
Based on my experience as a fugitive recovery agent, I try to tell people what is the right thing to do. And I'm very opinionated, I'm very blunt, oftentimes I'm abrasive, oftentimes my audience doesn't like what I have to say, but it's real in my world, and I try very hard to get that point across. I don't give a generic monotone talk. I think this is how it went down, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, I'm a hijacker, and these are my friends, and we're gonna take this plane, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? We've got movies, you've got your choice of 4, and we're gonna feed you. We've got steak, we've got lobster, we've got swordfish, and if you want all 3, God bless. Do you think that's how I got you to do what I want you to do and just go with me on that plane and have you sit there like little mice? You think that's how I got it done? No. You know how I got everybody's attention? I'm gonna move over here now to you, young lady. You know how I got everybody's attention? Let me show you. This is exactly how I did it. I grabbed a stewardess by the hair and I slit her throat. Now, if I slit this young lady's throat, do you think I would get everybody's attention in the room? You're damn right I would, okay? So that's my point. I'm gonna scare the living hell out of you to get you what I want you to do. So don't ever think, he's not getting me in the car, I'll never. And you know how many times I hear that? A lot. Bullshit, excuse me. You're gonna do, I'm gonna make you wet your pants at least. I'm gonna smash your teeth in, I'm gonna break your nose, I'm gonna make you taste your own blood, I'm gonna hurt you. Lock that in, that's how I'm gonna get you to do what I want you to do.
On December 18th of 2009, I took the day off work and was Christmas shopping alone. When I got there, I noticed a young gentleman also looking at iPods. And I only noticed him because he was young, he was attractive, dressed well. And I began speaking to the sales clerk about it. And this man, the same gentleman, was staring at me. So I went up to the register and I look over and he's standing next to me in line. And when I looked at him, I thought of Pat Malone. I kept thinking of everything that he had told us that day in my office, of being aware and watching everyone around me. I proceeded to walk to my car and I waited until I just got to the car and I hit the unlock button, jumped in, hit the lock button and shut the door as quickly as I possibly can. And as soon as I did that, the same gentleman I saw inside the store popped up on the driver's side door and tried opening the door and getting in the car.
A violent individual, there's not a textbook definition. You don't know what that violent person looks like. It could look like me, it could look like you, but there are people that have evil intentions What does an evil intention look like? You don't know. So you have to anticipate that you might encounter these kinds of people by being aware of what's going on around you. Violent person is somebody that's not afraid to act on whatever comes to their mind. They're not afraid to go to that next step.
Nobody in this room expects to be maimed or raped or killed before morning. Am I right? I'm 100% right. And you know what? That's when I show up. When I close that gap, you're not going to get away from me. I'm harmless, honey. I'm harmless. When I close that gap, you're not going to get away from me. I promise you that. So lock that in. There's no magic pill. There's no easy this, easy that. This is all about inconveniencing yourself.
When I first heard Pat talk about the safety prevention in our office, I listened and I thought, well, that's obvious. You know, he's not telling me anything I shouldn't know. It wasn't until something happened to me that I realized his words were so important. And I heard his voice over and over in my head. And, you know, thank God for him, because I took his words to heart when it was happening to me.
The thing I want you to do is resist. And let me preface that with what might be perfectly appropriate in one situation might be lethal in another. I'm going to tell you something like, get in the car and I promise I won't hurt you. Do what I say and I promise I won't hurt you. And let me tell you something. The guy with the gun in your face is not a truth teller. So don't ever think he's not getting me in the car.
One was then behind me in the car with the gun, and one was next to me in the passenger side. And I know I should have screamed or run or done anything, something, but I just couldn't. I froze. I just completely froze. I know that I should have reacted, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. I don't know why. So I drove, and eventually, it was a very long day with a series of being hit, being assaulted and sexually assaulted, and after they'd done some horrendous things, I said to God, I just was, you know, if you want me to give up, it would be so much easier if I could just give up and not even try to live. But if you want me to live, you have to give me strength. And I decided then that I needed to start doing something. So I just started noticing everything, listening to cell phone calls, memorizing what their shoes looked like, because I could see their feet under the driver's seats, smells, anything. I was very, very hot, very, very sweaty, and I chewed through the duct tape that was on my mouth, and I chewed through the duct tape on my hands. And I don't know why. I don't know how I thought I was going to get out, but I just felt like I needed to do something.
The first thing I want you to do is react immediately, okay? And you got to think about this now, because you're not going to be able to react when I show up. The key to any learning process, again, is repetition and review. The way you practice is the way you perform. You've got to use that mental imagery. When I show up, there's two choices. You have two choices. Do something or do nothing. And I have two choices. Let you live or leave no witnesses.
At one point at the end of the day, it got very, very quiet. And I could see that there weren't any feet on the passenger side or the driver's side. And, you know, I didn't know if they were standing outside the car or why it was quiet, but I shoved the seat up, and I could see that the keys were in the ignition. And I just decided this was it, and I threw the seat up and swung my legs over, turned on the gas, and drove. And I'm here. Some days I can't believe that I'm here. Probably isn't a day that doesn't pass that I don't think about that day and how horrible it was, but I feel very blessed to be here. So I think I need to tell my story because people need to know that these things happen. I met Pat Malone shortly after I was kidnapped. Pat's message is one that needs to be heard. I mean, women are vulnerable. Young people, young women are especially. I mean, the world is not a safe place. And you need to protect yourself, and you need to be aware of your surroundings. And so the message is very important. I don't want anyone else to have to go through a day like I went through.
When Pat told us about the sixth sense, I never thought it would actually happen, but it really does happen. My inner being said to me, this guy is going to rob you. And had he not had that discussion with me, I probably would have been oblivious to it. I'm glad that I took the precautions I did, and I wouldn't have taken those precautions had I not had that training from Pat Malone.
My name is Pat Malone, and my purpose is to keep America safe. That's my vision, to keep the violent criminal away from you through education, through my education. And I want you to realize that, think about these thoughts. Is it worth it to go out of your way 9 times if the 10th time saves you from a bad situation? Personally, for myself and the people I care about, I'd rather not find myself in a situation that I could have avoided with a little planning. You better believe the bad guy is planning, and it only has to happen once.